My business is Pilchuck Veterinary Hospital, and we've been in business for 43 years in the town of Snohomish, Washington. All the issues we would have at the hospital would be lack of communication, lack of teamwork, more individual, people were more interested in their individual achievement rather than the team or the organization. We also had a lot of issues with communication and the type of communication, and I would say our energy was low and our culture was stagnant. Before we engaged the Synergy Network, I was extremely frustrated with people's attitudes and their behaviors towards one another, often the way they treated each other in the workplace, and even socially how they treated each other. After working with the Synergy Network, we got some tools and some abilities to help people communicate more effectively and more efficiently. And a lot of it was we learned even things, terminology, that allowed us to communicate clearly and concisely both our feelings and our intentions. One of the best tools that we learned, and it's probably worth the whole Great Relates program, was the talk box, where we divided, or Larry Ransom divided the types of conversations you would have into 4 quadrants, and that being urgent talk, success talk, idle talk, and toxic talk. And our group actually broke urgent talk into something medical terminology, which is urgent and emergent, because we have both those here, and one is just a little bit more intense than the other. But just the idea that we could identify the toxic talk portion, the gossip, the innuendo, the triangulation, I even go so far as to say backstabbing, that type of communication, identifying it and being capable of saying that's inappropriate, we don't allow that here, and then watching people utilize that, and rather than participate in that type of conversation, actually go to people that could make a difference and have a conversation with them. That alone was worth the entire investment. Being able to identify toxic talk, what I saw from a distance was that staff members would actually identify that it was happening, intervene, stop that conversation from happening, make the conversation change from that to one that was success-oriented, and then help that person get the situation, whatever was bothering them, resolved, rather than just talking about it, actually doing something about it, and going to the appropriate supervisor or the appropriate individual to have that conversation. And what it did was, it did a couple things. It made people work together towards success, find the solutions, and then implement them. And it also brought people together in that it was a more safe place to have a conversation. After the Great Relates program, a lot of the employees became vested in our world-class vision, and they knew that that world-class vision included both how we were perceived on the outside and how we dealt with each other on the inside. So we wanted to have a world-class organization that treated each other fairly and kindly, and we had fun at work, really important to have fun. And at the same time, the external portion was to wow the patient and have great medical outcomes for all our companion animals, and then just wow the customer. Implementing the Great Relates program, what we saw was a lot of ultimate responsibility became something that everybody participated in. Every one of our staff members felt that they had a responsibility for the success, their success, and the organization's success. And they truly believed that, because now we could communicate and talk about it, and it opened up that space where people could join together and actually work together and be effective. And I think we had a lot of people get very, very excited. We had people do their Games of Greatness, and they implemented those, and they got help from others, and a lot of those things came to fruition and were very successful. And they, for one, they're fun to do, and they just turn people on, and they make them feel like they're part of the team and they can make a difference. The specific results that we achieved immediately after working with the Synergy Network were that the following 4 months after completing the Great Relates program were record revenue months for Pilchuck Veterinary Hospital, and they were also record net profit months for Pilchuck Veterinary Hospital. An example of a more isolated type of achievement was that our equine ambulatory and equine hospital group just made a 1-month committed intention to increase collections at the time of service. In other words, getting paid immediately at the time of or immediately following performing their service. And the equine ambulatory group was able to raise their level of collections from 45% to 65% in 1 month, and our equine hospital was able to increase their collections from 80% to 95% in 1 month, just simply by committing to it. The difference between working with Larry and other trainers and other consultants in the past is that, and I believe this is probably the most important thing, is that we made a commitment to work with Larry for a 90-day period following the Great Relates program, where people created games for greatness, and they followed through on them, and Larry was committed to their success and our success as an organization. And that repetition and that follow-up, just like good medicine, you know, going in for your checkups, made a huge difference to the organization, and it made it stick. It just wasn't a fly-by-night, you know, one-time over thing. It actually started to ingrain itself into our culture. What's possible for the future, because what we've done with the Great Relates program and what we've learned is, I think that, you know, I hate to say this, but the sky's the limit for us. As far as organizationally, I think that we know how to work together, we know how to put teams together, we know how to get things done now, we know how to communicate well, we know how to be successful, we know how to measure things. And we're not afraid of that. And there was a lot of fear before, and I think we move forward into the future with a lot less fear. The personal thing that I got the most out of the Great Relates program and working with Larry Ransom is, for me, what it was I learned to be accountable to my vision and accountable to the passion that I have for veterinary medicine and my business, Pilchuck Veterinary Hospital. And rather than waffle around that and worry about what other people thought, I just deliver the message, and I deliver it much more effectively than I used to.